Championship, but it's Rouse and Kelvin Burt.
At Alton Park at Easter, an emphatic victory there by Andy Rouse in Class A, but in the new 2-litre class, a debut win by Kelvin Burt over the former champion Frank Sittner. But this second round, a long-distance race, 2 drivers per team, it really did offer something different.
This Donington round of the Esso British Touring Car Championship always lives up to its exciting potential. 1988, Win Purce's Nissan battling Andy Rouse's Sierra Cosworth in the race that calls for compulsory driver changes over its 1-hour running time. 88 victory went to Rouse. 89, it was Tiff Needell sharing the driving with Lawrence Bristow, who scored the win that at last put Team Labatt's on the top step of the rostrum. The championship continues to command budgets that can rise towards £250,000 a car. Strangely, little of it has found its way toward Trackstar. If big backing doesn't arrive, Mike Smith and pole position man Rob Gravitt may have only a couple of races to run. Despite that, a gamble. Gravitt pairing himself for the race with a former world rally champion, Stig Blomqvist.
We did a race in Japan November last year, and I actually ran in a left-hand drive RS500 at Fuji. And he does race these cars in Finland, so he's not averse to doing circuit racing, although he was the world rally champion, as you know. He seems to be able to adapt very quickly from left to right-hand drive, and he was on the pace quite quickly with the car.
This is 100% concentration all the time, really, and you really have to go for it, because if you lose your concentration a bit, someone is going to catch you like hell. So it's, okay, rallying, okay, you have to be concentrated there as well, but okay, you can slow down a little bit because you don't feel it's working right for you, but okay, and then catch back later. But okay, here now you have no chance really, it's just flat out all the time.
In the new 2-litre formula, last year's champion John Cleland continues to pit the Vauxhall Cavalier against the hard-charging BMWs. The car is no problem. The driver changes with teammate Chris Hodgetts might be more complicated.
Well, if you do the bottom one...
I'll do the bottom one, right?
And hold it out, I'll try and bang these 2 in. Okay?
The 2-litre formula is the shape of the championship to come, and the BMW Junior team are providing the future stars. Kelvin Burt on the left, an outstanding class winner in the opening round at Alton Park, and Kurt Luby, who'll be partnering both Burt and the experienced and very committed former champion Frank Sittner. Class A pole position to the underfunded Gravitt and Blomqvist, alongside the leading Labatt's runners Tim Harvey and Slim Borgood. Andy Rouse, Alton Park winner, renews the partnership with David Sears. They won here 2 years ago. Further down, Thomas Mazzera, the Bathurst winner, partners Lawrence Bristow. And the leading 2-litre class runners, Frank Sittner and Kurt Luby, they've qualified alongside Mike Smith and Graham Hathaway on the 4th row. Round 2 of the Esso British Touring Car Championship. Commentator at Donington, Murray Walker.
60 minutes of Donington's 2.5-mile laps, an hour's very hard racing. And Sean Walker in the Sierra Cosworth, third from the left, makes a real flower of a start to lead Rob Gravitt's White Sierra. But Rob leads into Redgate. And there's Walker's car, but we're in front with Gravitt. 120 miles an hour through the Craner curves. Down to the old hairpin, Gravitt, Walker, Thomas Mazzera, Andy Rouse. And it's Thomas Mazzera, the Czech from Australia, if you see what I mean, ahead of us. Winner of the Bathurst 1000 in 1988, and yet to get the recognition he deserves. Now up to McLean's, and Sean Walker locks up. Mazzera in 3rd position, but Andy Rouse is going for it, and cleanly through on the inside goes multiple British champion Andy Rouse up into 3rd position. In car with Mazzera, and now we can watch how Andy Rouse drives, trying to catch Sean Walker ahead of him. Up to Coppice, 4th gear, over 100 miles an hour, out of Coppice, down the straight at 125. Gravitt leads, Walker 2nd. There is Rouse in 3rd place, Mazzera behind him. Mike Newman in the Black Sierra is in 5th place. Then it's Harvey 6th, Mike Smith in 7th place. Down to Melbourne Corner. In car with Mazzera. And there is the gap ahead. Gravitt leading, Walker 2nd, Rouse locks up, tyres smoking, 3rd position. We're with Mazzera in 4th place, up to Goddard. And there they go, Rouse, Mazzera, Harvey, Newman, Mike Smith. Now, there is Newman with Mike Smith right behind him. Mike Smith closing up and going for it, and he hits Newman. Newman off. Both of them stop. Sidner goes through, and two more BMWs, and another. Mike Smith has stopped. Mike Newman backing up. Well, what rotten luck for Newman, who went so well at Alton Park. He's rejoined in 17th place, and Mike Smith looks as though he's not going anywhere. Old Hairpin, Rouse third, Metsera fourth, Tim Harvey, number 3, in 5th position. And sure enough, Mike Smith is parking it. He's out of the race already. And here's a replay. On the left, Newman. Mike Smith very optimistic, going for it on the inside, missing it completely, brakes hard, contact, pushes Newman out of the way. They both stop, and Mike's race is finished. And look at Mike Newman on the right. He's blasted past Jerry Marnie up to 13th place. Craner curves, 120 miles an hour. Bellum ahead of Mike Newman. And Bellum in the Sierra goes onto the grass. Newman goes through, up into 12th position, and at McLean's there's a terrific battle for leadership in the new 2-litre formula. Sidner in the BMW leading Cleland in the new front-wheel drive Vauxhall Cavalier. Kurt Luby behind Cleland in another BMW. In car with Cleland, the 1989 British champion in a Vauxhall Astra. This is the new 2-litre Cavalier GSI. Only its second race, and he's matching the BMWs. Into the chicane, Sidner, Cleland, Luby. Luby is one of BMW's 3 junior team drivers, and like Kelvin Burt, he's proving very worthy of the place. In car with Cleland, Melbourne Hairpin, some 250 brake horsepower from the Vauxhall's twin-cam engine, chasing Sidner, keeping ahead of Luby. And there's truck racing champion Slim Borgood, waiting to take over from Tim Harvey. Number 3 is Tim Harvey, following his teammate Thomas Metsera, who is 4th. Rouse on the right is catching Sean Walker, both of them in Ford Sierras. Both Andy Rouse prepared cars, and the ex-Sports 2000 champion from Elstree is driving a fine race to stay ahead of Andy Rouse. There he is. But can he stay ahead? Rouse is definitely gaining. McLean's. Coppice, there's Walker on the left, Rouse on the right. Rob Gravitt is still leading. We're in car with Cleland, the 2-litre formula. The man from Peebles in the Cavalier is giving the 2-litre formula leader, Frank Sidner, no peace at all. Luby behind, and David Leslie is 4th, just behind Luby in another BMW. Coppice, and Cleland takes the Cavalier into the class lead, past Frank Sidner. Terrific performance. And look at the way they're both going, underneath the bridge, down towards the chicane. And now Mike Newman is coming up fast in the Black Sierra. Mike Newman is with the 2-litre leaders, up from 17th to 8th. And this is Jerry Marnie chasing Carvel's BMW, and off goes the BMW. He recovers, but he's lost 4 places. And now look at Mike Newman, alongside Cleland's Vauxhall. Frank goes through on the inside, retakes the place. Down to 8th again goes Mike Newman. But he's got the power. There is Cleland, Sidner behind him, 2-litre cars. Mike Newman, of course, is in the 2-litre turbocharged Ford Sierra Cosworth. He's got some 550 horsepower. This is his chance to use it. And he's doing just that, down to Redgate, up to 6th position, past Sidner, past Cleland, and in car, Cleland is angry about something, himself, I think. The chicane, and Walker and Rouse are still battling for 2nd position, behind Rob Gravitt. But this is it for Andy Rouse. Cleanly up to 2nd at Melbourne Hairpin. Is he? Up alongside Sean Walker on the left. Andy Rouse has got the inside position. He should get through here. And he does it. Rouse is 2nd. Walker goes down into 3rd position. But he fights back. He's got the momentum. He's got the inside line at Goddard. Rear tyres smoke a bit. They're going round absolutely together. Terrific stuff this. But Sean Walker is back in 2nd place as they go down towards Redgate. And this time, Andy Rouse has got the inside line. And if Walker doesn't move across, Andy will go up to 2nd. And he does just that. 550 horsepower, and he's using every one of them. but David Carvel isn't using any of them. Some sort of trouble with the BMW. Up comes the engine cover. David ferrets about inside, but there's 4 cars chasing for the 2-litre honours. Cleland is back in the lead of the class. Sidner is second. Then it's Kurt Luby, and behind him is the talented Scotsman, David Leslie. On go Cleland's brake lights. Sidner comes right up alongside the Vauxhall. Cleland holds the inside line, puts the power down, front wheel drive. Sidner's got rear wheel drive in the BMW, doesn't seem to make much difference here. Now up to Goddard, and Sidner attacks. He's bobbing about left and right, but there's no way through. Cleland leads out of the corner. Now down to Redgate, and the new Vauxhall Cavalier is sensational. It's showing the BMWs the way. Down to Redgate. Sidner attacks again, and he goes through on the inside. Frank Sidner leads the 2-litre Formula, and the ProDrive team cheer. Craner curves. 4 cars, 1,000 horsepower. Sidner leading the class, then Cleland, Luby and Leslie in the privately owned BMW. The RAC's new British 2-litre Formula really works, and Cleland's attacking Sidner again. BMW versus Vauxhall. We're with Cleland. Sidner ahead. But this time, Frank looks as though he's going to stay there. Frank Sidner, the British touring car champion of 1988, leads the 2-litre class in his BMW from Cleland's Vauxhall. And Tim Harvey is in trouble in his Ford Sierra. He was 4th, right up with Sean Walker, but now he is obviously on his way out. And look at the 2 litres climbing the curbs. Sidner, Cleland, Luby, Leslie. This is touring car racing. And there's Kelvin Burt with the radio earpiece in place, getting ready to take over from Kurt Luby. In, says the board, but Tim Harvey is out, mountaineering his way back to the pits. And whoops, Cleland really swipes the curbs at 90 miles an hour. Graunch, something has broken. Something's broken. There goes Luby up to the class second. There's the BMW. And there, past the Vauxhall, goes Leslie up to 3rd. The Cavalier is kaput, and he's touring in. Well, what rotten luck after such a terrific run. John Cleland, out of the race, fine drive. More to come, I'm sure. Now, here's a replay. Up to the old hairpin. Really quick. Curb right. Curb left. Fishing for the gears, and there is no drive. Nothing to come. Into the pits comes Thomas Metsera to hand over to Lawrence Bristow. 8 seconds from stop to go, including doing up the seat belts. That is a nice one, and they haven't even lost their 4th place. So now Lawrence Bristow builds up to race pace. He won last year with Tiff Needell. Kurt Luby comes in, 2nd in the 2-litre class. And his junior teammate, Kelvin Burt, takes over. Into the left-hand drive car. Bit of trouble with the seatbelts. 12 seconds, 4 seconds longer than Metsera and Bristow. Out of the pits goes Burt. His car was 6th before the stop, and now it is 8th. And 3rd in class behind Sidner and Leslie. Kurt Luby takes a well-earned drink. And sadly, John Cleland's race is over. And there in the white, unsponsored Sierra is race leader Rob Gravitt. No problem. And now, with Cleland out, Frank Sidner's got a solid, secure class lead in his BMW. So, what's wrong, John Cleland?
There is an offside, a near side drive shaft is broken. Is there anybody out there? There's a near side drive shaft broken.
Well, keep off the curbs then, John. Now, Rob Gravitt, number 11, leads, but he's yet to make his pit stop, and number 1, Andy Rouse, is 2nd, and he is yet to stop too. Behind him, 56, Kelvin Burt, just starting his stint, and Andy is coming in. Shoulder harness off, ready for a quick exit. Into the pit lane. Stop right here, Andy. And he does it. Rouse out. David Sears in. And as Sears gets ready to leave, Jerry Marnie's coming in his BMW. And there's Sears leaving. And now we're with David Sears, son of BRDC's great saloon car champion, Jack Sears. David's down to third after his stop, behind Rob Gravitt and Sean Walker. Into Redgate with half the race still to go. And that is the great Swedish World Rally champion Stig Blomqvist, ready to take over from race leader Rob Gravitt. And Mark Hale's Mitsubishi Colt is out. He expected to have gearbox trouble, and it looks as though he has. And, excuse me, I'm afraid you can't leave it there, mate. Sean Walker, yet to stop, second with David Sears on his boot lid. So, David's going to move up soon, as leader Rob Gravitt in the White Sierra stays out in the lead. The Melbourne Loop, Sean Walker second, David Sears behind him in third position, soon to move up. Because Walker's coming in. Look, he's got his indicator going. Sears has gone up into second place. And Stig Blomqvist waits with the built-in seat padding. And now Kurt Luby's going out again in Frank Sittner's class-leading BMW this time. Race leader Rob Gravitt in, with Sittner behind him. And as Sittner goes in, we go in with Rob Gravitt. Gravitt stops. Rob out, Stig in. Sittner out, Kurt Luby in. Blomqvist out again in the lead after a 10-second stop. And out shoots Luby, second in class behind Burt's BMW. But can Blomqvist hold the race lead? Gravitt reports on the car.
A lot of boost after about lap 5. And it's making a noise, but the car just seems to be doing similar times. The tyres are just brand new still. It's really good, the cars. I'm so pleased.
So the car's good, and after a superb stop, Blomqvist is 10 seconds ahead of Sears with 13 laps to go, and that's a big lead. 66, Gerrit Van Cowen's going well too. Past James Shedd's 2-litre Ford Sapphire, up to 10th overall. Closing in on the yellow Chalmers McRae BMW on their way to Redgate. That's British Rally champion Jimmy McRae. Into Redgate. But the Forest Hunter BMW has had it. Out from 6th in class, just beyond the pits. It's always a sad sight when the drivers tried so hard and the car had been going so well. But now David Leslie's coming in, second in class, a superb drive as he stops to hand over to Godfrey Hall. In car with Kurt Luby, David Sears ahead as Kurt signals he's second overall. Both of them fairly racing down to Redgate, and the experienced David Sears is really motoring, making up over a second a lap on Blomqvist. But how's Frank Sittner's race gone?
Well, I got involved obviously with Cleland at the beginning, which was fairly time consuming. I would like to have had the clear run, but obviously if you start, you're going to be mixed up with other quicker cars. So I guess that might have cost me in true terms, maybe 3-4 seconds on the road.
Oops, that's James Shedd's Ford. It looks a bit serious, but he's still motoring. And second in class, in car with Kurt Luby. And look ahead, that's class leader Kelvin Burt in the other ProDrive BMW. And he's off! Burt's off! Not good. In the gravel trap at the old hairpin, and that's destroyed the ProDrive team's class first and second. But at least Burt's got the consolation of sharing a new class record with Kurt Luby. And it won't seem much consolation to him at the moment. So now lap 28 and Bristow goes up to third, past Ian Flux in the Sean Walker Sierra. But look at this, Blomqvist is only 3 seconds ahead of number 1 in second place, David Sears. Down to Melbourne. And Stig is going to be held up at the hairpin by those 2 BMWs. He's right up with them as they come out. He has to brake almost to a standstill. David Sears goes into the hairpin. Blomqvist uses his superior power to get past the M3s, but that will have helped Sears, and James Shedd's Ford is beyond help. The chicane again, Blomqvist and Sears, nothing in it, but catching is one thing, getting past is quite another. Their cars have got virtually identical performance. Down to the hairpin again. Blomqvist, more used to rallying than racing, is really under pressure, with well over 500 horsepower under his right foot. Up to Goddard. Andy Rouse never got the lead, and he anxiously wonders whether David Sears can. Out of Goddard, into the last lap, and Blomqvist's equally anxious team shout, go, go! Well, he's doing his best, lads, and he's doing well. But poor Rob Gravett can only sit and worry about the lead he handed over. He is worried. Craner curves. Sears with his lights ablaze to harass Stig Blomqvist. But Stig is sticking to the racing line, and if he does that, it's going to be very, very difficult for Sears to get through. What a race for victory after 60 minutes of action. Hang on, Rob, not long to go.
Last lap.
Yes, it's the last lap. McLean's for the last time. Blomqvist leads. Sears is second. There is half a lap to go. Up to Coppice at 100 miles an hour. Into it. Blomqvist gets out first. And if he gets to the chicane first after this straight, he must win. Only seconds to go, Andy, and it's going to be close. At the chicane, Blomqvist leads. Sears second. What a finish! Down to the Melbourne hairpin. Blomqvist is still ahead. There's only the run-up to Goddard after this, and then he's done it. Down to the hairpin, hard on the brakes. Blomqvist runs a bit wide. Sears is trying to go through on the inside, but he fails. Blomqvist is ahead. He's only got up to Goddard now. He's home. He's home. But he's lost it. Blomqvist lost it. Gosh! Sears is through, just yards from the flag. Blomqvist stuck on the curb as David Sears snatches victory at the very last corner, and Rob Gravett sees all his hard work thrown away. Blomqvist recovers to finish a very unhappy second, but of course Andy Rouse is absolutely elated.
You couldn't have wanted a better finish than that, could you?
Poor Mike Smith. Both Trackstar Sierras out at the same place as Kurt Luby wins the 2-litre class of a truly memorable race. So, second overall at the end, Gravett and Blomqvist behind Andy Rouse and David Sears.
To be truthful, I didn't know how many laps there were to go, so I thought I'd better start pushing a bit harder, but I mean, we blocked each other a few times, but quite honestly, he, in the end, went off all by himself. So.
Poor Stig Blomqvist. He went off because he had flat-spotted his tyres when he got stuck behind the BMWs. But the 2-litre men were absolutely delighted.
First half of the race was a lot harder than the second half because it was just titanic battle out there, and I was just sitting there waiting for something to happen. And then a couple of the Sierras went off, and obviously they then caught us again, and they mixed it up again. And then once John had fallen off, John Cleland in the Vauxhall, then we just started to... Then I had my stop, and then as I went out the pits, I was right behind Kelvin, and it was a matter of settling to a groove and try and claw him in, and he just ever so slightly overdid it. He was so close off holding it, and he overdid it. And thereafter, it was just a matter of conserve the car, conserve me, because after the first run, I've got a hell of a blister on my hand with the gearbox. But it was a good race. It was a good result. I'm really pleased.